sister's witches too?
When the devil's agent, the man in black, torments one of the first afflicted girls, and then reveals his identity in a demonic vision, no one is safe. Strange fits have afflicted young girls in Salem Village since January. After 3 months of terror, Salem's highest authorities are desperate to root out the witches they believe have infiltrated their community. Local landowner Thomas Putnam shares a startling spectral encounter with Magistrate John Haythorne.
I have a shocking story to tell you. My daughter Anne was grievously tormented again last night.
Putnam claims the identity of the man in black was revealed to his afflicted daughter Anne in a terrifying vision.
She saw an apparition of what she thought was a minister of God. So she asked him his name, and he told her. He said, "My name is George Burroughs."
Putnam paints George Burroughs as the emissary of Satan and the ringleader of the conspiracy. George Burroughs is a name everyone in Salem knows well.
Burroughs had previously been the minister of Salem. In the 1680s, he left, and at the time of the witch trials, he was living in Maine.
Burroughs is soon apprehended in the Maine frontier and brought back to Salem to see if he's the force behind the madness.
I think the idea that there was one powerful man responsible for all of this suffering, that he was the leader of the witches, the leader of this conspiracy, would have been very appealing to people.
He is brought back as the accused ringleader of all of these witches, which would be, of course, doubly devastating for Salem Village because he had been their spiritual leader.
There had been rumors about George Burroughs while he was the minister in Salem several years before.
There were a few things about his personality that made him especially susceptible to accusations of witchcraft. He was very secretive. Throughout his time as a minister, he wasn't really one to go about, shaking hands and kissing babies in the community. He kept to himself, and because of his secretiveness, rumors started to fly about him.
We have also heard that you confer with the Indians.
There are strange stories that had always surrounded Burroughs about his supposed familiarity with the Indians on the Maine frontier.
He's accused of being involved with the French and the Native Americans, who are seen by these New Englanders as agents of the devil.
What are we to make of a man who deals with the devil's own?
It's been pointed out not only the tangling together of language around the devil and native populations, but also the fact that many individual people who are caught up in the Salem crisis either have spent time on the Maine frontier, have family who were on the Maine frontier, experienced violence on the Maine frontier. They've certainly, even if they haven't been, they've heard of the violence on the Maine frontier.
After questioning him in private, they now take Burroughs to the public meeting house, where his accusers are waiting.
He hasn't been prepared for this. He's taken into the room where the girls are, and he's told not to look at them. And he does look round at them.
Look, his dead wives are appeared.
He hasn't known what's been going on in Salem, and he's never seen anything like it.
Let us hear the testimony.
Burroughs is stunned by the overwhelming reaction.
His specter so appeared to me and took me to a high place where he promised me all the key.
He's absolutely gobsmacked. One of them says something, and they all go into fits.
He has brought the book and would have me write it.
What do you make of this?
Then Haythorne is asking him questions which he can't answer.
It is indeed an amazing and humbling providence. But I confess, I understand none of it.
It's the most powerful scene, really, because he represents the power of the devil. The devil could not just overcome a weak young girl, but the devil could, in fact, make a minister into Satan's helper.
But catching the alleged ringleader of the conspiracy is not enough. Meanwhile, Sarah Osborne, one of the first women accused, falls victim to Boston jail's appalling conditions. She's the first fatality of the Salem witch hunt. But she certainly won't be the last.
When did you first contract with the devil?
I have not.
Meanwhile, examinations of suspected witches continue, and a wealthy merchant named Nathaniel Carey and his wife Elizabeth arrive from Boston. Nathaniel has heard that Abigail Williams, one of the afflicted girls, has accused his wife of witchcraft.
It is not right.
Confident it's a case of mistaken identity,
So you deny that you are a witch?
they've come to Salem to set the record straight.
He is a rich, pretty powerful man who's used to having his own way and being able to fix things with money, if no other way.
Look after this matter. Hello, John.
Nathaniel Carey meets with his old acquaintance John Hale, now one of Salem's leading witch hunters.
Clear up an unfortunate misunderstanding. Word has come to me that my wife Elizabeth's name has been mentioned.
Nathaniel Carey says, could you arrange for my wife to meet Abigail Williams so that she can
Speak directly
explain to her that she's not a witch and she's not afflicting her? And John Hale says, yes, he'll do that.
Let me arrange for you to speak with her.
The Careys hope for a quiet meeting with Abigail. They get the exact opposite.
All the girls arrive and start shouting that she's afflicting.
While the Careys are horrified, John Hale observes the theatrics and issues an immediate warrant for Elizabeth Carey.
She is then taken to John Haythorne, who seems to be expecting them.
Why do you torment these girls?
I do not. I never had any knowledge of them before today. I fear I'm going to faint.
Might I take her hand to steady her?
If she has strength enough to torment these girls, she has strength enough to stand. I've seen enough. Take her away with the others.
Appalled by the injustice, Nathaniel Carey denounces community leaders
God will take vengeance on
for
you.
plotting against him and his wife.
He will deliver us from unmerciful men.
The outburst can't save Elizabeth, who is immediately locked up. Shackled with 8 pounds of chains, she suffers seizures. Her arrest makes it clear that even people with money and influence are not immune from the witch hunt.
When he returns, he discovers that this crisis has bubbled up seemingly out of nowhere in the time that he was gone, and has intensified because there was no legal wherewithal to cope.
Every morning brings new complaints, further examinations, and further arrests.
With all of the accused awaiting formal trials, Phipps needs to come up with a plan to carry out justice.
Phipps has to basically create an emergency court to hear and to try these witches.
To bring those.
It's like a special court, hastily assembled after the new charter arrives, to deal with the backlog.
And he appoints his deputy governor, William Stoughton, as Chief Justice. Stoughton became a committed witch hunter, and he was extremely enthusiastic about the duty of the court.
The emergency court also seeks the advice of Boston's leading expert on witchcraft, Minister Cotton Mather.
This is something he knows. He knows how to handle it. He probably feels a sense of mission. He's the man for the job.
He is not even 30 years old. He's this young pup who's being consulted on all of this stuff. He really believes that there was some kind of demonic possession, malevolent forces at work in Salem.
Events move quickly. 9 accused witches are brought back from the jailhouse in Boston to Salem town. Among the accused are Sarah Good, Rebecca Nurse, John and Elizabeth Proctor, and the slave Tituba, the first to claim that the devil came to her. Because of her confession, Tituba will not be tried as a witch, but instead will be a witness, giving evidence against the others. As everyone is led to the courtroom, the anticipation grows to a fever pitch. Lives hang in the balance, and those who are found guilty will be put to death.
I think the judges were trying to do the right thing. In fact, they had with them all of these law books that had been printed in Boston from English law, and they were trying to desperately figure out what to do, but they also had something to prove. I think a lot of these judges wanted to be seen as credible judicial experts. And as such, they did have some motivation to be particularly harsh with the women and men who were accused of witchcraft in Salem.
The first suspect brought to trial is one of the more recent accused, Bridget Bishop, who has been rumored to be a witch for more than a decade. She's taken by cart from Salem jail to Salem Town House, where her trial will be held.
They picked the best case they had. They wanted to start strong. And Bridget Bishop was certainly suspicious according to the standards of the day. She was a woman who had long had a poor reputation among her neighbors, and she was someone with a long-standing reputation as a witch.
Bridget Bishop has been running a tavern in which young people have been up late drinking and playing at the shovelboard.
Bridget's case seems doomed from the start. As she's taken to the court, she glances towards the church, just as a crash is heard inside. A nail-studded board is found pulled out of its place and lying a good distance from where it had been.
Puritans did not believe in coincidences. They didn't believe in accidents. So they were sort of primed psychologically to look for evidence that the person was in league with the devil and wasn't a true Christian.
Before Bridget has even entered the courtroom, the evidence is piling up against her. She is about to become the first to face justice in Salem. Is there anything an accused witch in Salem can do to save herself? And it only gets worse. When she enters Salem Town House, the afflicted girls immediately go into fits.
This would have been an almost unprecedented spectacle.
Bridget Bishop, how do you plead to the charges of witchcraft?
Not guilty.
While Bridget insists that she's innocent, the accusations of the afflicted provide compelling evidence to the contrary.
She torments me, appears constantly, offering me the devil's book to sign.
They probably were legitimately afraid of the women that they were accusing of witchcraft. Because, of course, you would expect that the witch would turn all of her black magic, all of her power against you, against the accuser.
When Bridget looks at them, they immediately collapse. One girl even seems to cough up a pin that she's been attacked with.
Tell us, why do you afflict these children?
Bridget Bishop was accused of torturing these afflicted people. She denied it. She said she was not a witch.
I'm innocent. You know me. I don't even know what a witch is.
How then do you know that you are not a witch?
Bridget then faces accusations from villagers who claim encounters with her.
Her neighbors had long lived in fear of her. They came to court with stories, some dating back years and years, about how they had had a minor squabble with her and subsequently someone in their household had fallen ill. And some of the most damning evidence against Bridget Bishop several workmen claimed that they had found in her cellar while making repairs a series of poppets. They said they were made of rags and hog's bristles. Now, poppets were something that witches were believed to use like voodoo dolls. They were a means of tormenting and harming their victims through black magic.
Once those puppet dolls were found, Bridget Bishop didn't have any chance in the world. That was really concrete evidence of her involvement with Satan, her deal with the devil.
The question for you, the jury.
Chief Justice William Stoughton instructs the jury to carefully weigh the evidence against Bridget Bishop.
They're not really following English law the way that they should be. Technically, what you would need to convict someone of witchcraft is either a confession or two witnesses to the same event. And they do not have this.
Since Bridget refuses to confess, her fate rests on her neighbor's salacious testimony and the fits of the young girls in her presence.
The Salem witch trials sustained themselves because the courtroom appeared almost as a theatre, where mass delusion, where fears, where panics could be made public and generated and fed off the intensity and the energy of a group of marginalized, scared, and disempowered young women. You only have to repeat a lie often enough for it to be seen as being true. So the Salem outbreak spread like a series of forest fires, consuming everything in its path.
The preponderance of evidence.
The jurors have concluded that Bridget Bishop is guilty. But with so much riding on it, the magistrates review their decision.
The poppets.
Poppets. They found nearly a dozen in her basement. What other explanation can there be?
It's a convincing case, but questions still remain. Why would Bridget afflict the young girls?
Why would she seek to cause pain to those whom she does not know?
It seems probable that witches would torment the afflicted on the behalf of other witches. As for the motive, it seems to me that it's nothing less than the destruction of the Church of God.
Bridget Bishop, you have been found guilty of the crime of witchcraft. You are to be taken to a place next Friday where you will be hanged by the neck until you are dead.
Bridget's protests fall on deaf ears. The Salem witch trials have handed down their first death sentence. At 8 in the morning, Bridget Bishop is loaded onto a cart and carried away from Salem jail for the last time.
The executions take place just outside of town on a road from Salem town towards Salem village.
The anticipation would have been so thick you probably could have cut it with a knife. The trials had been building up for months by the time that Bridget Bishop goes to her death.
It would have been a very public event. People would have traveled from all around to see it happening.
These public spectacles would have been attended by people of all ages. Children, the elderly.
There would have been screaming, there would have been shouting, there would have been cheering. This would have represented the freeing of their community from a diabolical influence.
His disciples, give us the strength.
I'm not a witch. No, please.
Bridget protests her innocence to her final breath.
It's chilling to think about watching someone you know hanged to death and feeling good, feeling a delight that this has happened. But it's not that hard if you think about it from the perspective of the Puritan worldview.
But Rebecca Nurse is another story. Highly respected, her arrest was a shock to the villagers.
Rebecca Nurse's position within the community, her impeccable reputation as a Puritan, her intense piety, and the petition signed by 39 leading residents of Salem Village, including one of the Putnams who had accused her, helped sway the jury
What verdict does the jury return?
Not guilty.
The girls just went wild, and lots of people gathered outside the meeting house, joined in.
I think that these girls probably were fearful of no longer being listened to, of no longer driving the narrative, of no longer being the architects of the chaos.
Will the afflicted girls be able to sway the outcome of the trial?
When Rebecca Nurse is initially found not guilty, and the afflicted respond to that finding with such an extreme outpouring of psychological energy, William Stoughton instructs the jury to actually reconsider their verdict.
The jury is called back in, and some questions are put to Rebecca Nurse. One of them pertained to a statement that she'd made earlier in the day. At one point, she'd referred to some of the other suspects, and she'd used the term "one of us." For the court, that led to an interesting question. Did she mean one of us, another suspect, or did she mean one of us, a member of this witchcraft conspiracy?
The jury would like to address the accused.
What say the jury?
Rebecca Nurse was growing deaf, and when they asked her the question, what did you mean by one of us, she didn't hear. As a result, she stood silent.
By her silence, she is guilty.
And the court took her lack of an answer as a tacit admission that she had meant one of us in terms of witchcraft.
Rebecca Nurse, you have been found guilty on the crime of witchcraft. I hereby sentence you to be hanged by the neck until you are dead. May God have mercy on your soul.
All 6 accused witches brought to trial in Salem have now been found guilty, even the pious Rebecca Nurse.
It became apparent over the summer of 1692 that if you confessed to witchcraft, you'd be kept in jail and possibly further questioned and maybe executed later, but that they would keep you alive at least for a while. So you had family members writing to their loved ones in jail and saying, just confess. They won't execute you right away and we'll be able to figure something out. But it's the really devout people who would not confess because they would not lie under oath. Rebecca Nurse, because she was a very godly woman, would not confess and would not lie under oath.
Rebecca Nurse tries to explain.
And I, being somewhat hard of hearing,
She tells the court she hadn't answered the question because she hadn't heard it.
informing me of how the court took up my
She says her words, one of us, referred to her fellow prisoners, not fellow witches, as the jury initially thought.
This is what she meant.
Believing she has cleared up the misunderstanding, Rebecca is hopeful of being released. But when she is brought from the jail to the meeting house, her salvation is absent.
Look you all upon the face of the devil himself, a witch who dared plot against God's own church.
She's excommunicated from the Salem church.
Rebecca Nurse is taken to her death at Gallows Hill, along with Sarah Good and 3 other women. As the cart rolls along the Boston Road toward the hanging tree, they are mocked by their neighbors and haunted by fears of the fate that awaits them.
It certainly would have been people screaming out at them, calling them witches, maybe throwing things at them.
The first 3 condemned witches are hung. Stirring the crowd's bloodlust. Rebecca Nurse is next. She meets her fate the same way she has lived her life.
And I pray with all my heart that he might see a way to provide some miraculous proof of my innocence.
Moments later, the support she's standing on is kicked away.
When Rebecca Nurse is hanged, people are kind of in shock. There's almost a kind of unreality about it until Rebecca Nurse is hanged and they realize that this is real. And this is really what we've been brought to. That is a moment that is a turning point in the way that the crisis plays out.
Reverend Nicholas Noyes urges Sarah Good to confess.
Confess while you still have breath.
He rallies the crowd after their uncertainty over Rebecca Nurse.
You are a witch. And all here assembled know it. You're liars!
When Sarah Good is on the gallows, she says to Nicholas Noyes,
I'm no more of a witch than you are a wizard. And if you take away my life, God will give you blood to drink.
Sarah Good becomes the sixth woman to hang. But with more specters haunting the innocent all across the land, Salem's witch hunt is far from over.